No wins at AAA this month, and it's the final race of the season. But that's okay, I'll tell you all about it. Unfortunately, my box stock and tune class cars did not make it to the finals or win anything, but that's okay because the people on my team, McBite, got to the finals and they succeeded. We have John V. He is gold this month. And yeah, he's one of my students, you can say. He learns from all of my videos. And yeah, it's pretty cool. He's a really fast learner. He takes the knowledge that's given to him and he just churns out really nice, stable cars. So that's really good. And he's going to be a really, really formidable racer for months to come. You'll see. Keep an eye out for him. And we also have, oh my God, this father and son team. They are incredible. Christopher and Cyril. They won, or they were like in the top podium spots every month at AAA Hobbies. So cool. And they were students of mine at my Mini 4-wheel drive course that we had at AAA Hobbies. So yeah, they took their knowledge and they just took it to the extreme and they learned everything they could. And they also got some help from other McBite mentors. And whoa, these two people are one of the most formidable teams I have ever faced in any racing event. They are so good. They have super fast motors. They tune them using my Venom tuning methods. So check out my Venom tuning motor methods. You'll see how to water tune your engines properly. You'll see how to maximize the RPM speed of your engines. It's so cool. And they were able to maximize other details of their car. Oh my God, they have formidable cars. If you ever find yourself in a racing event with them, be forewarned, they're really, really good. Yeah, and it's so good to see these people rapidly ascend and just become like amongst the greats, like almost overnight. And it's so cool, so cool. So I tried to race this car. Now, this is one of the cars that did really well at Side Bites last event, Sunday event. And yeah, it's a very formidable car, but unfortunately I withheld it, so I didn't get a chance to race it one last time in the qualifiers. But yeah, this probably would have made the finals, I would say, if I didn't withhold it. So you can see details in one of my previous videos on SideBite about why I withheld this car. So my son raced this car here, his Silver Surfer mock frame, a very formidable car in its own right. And yeah, he was doing really well with this, but unfortunately didn't make the finals because of course outs in the end. Too much battery power. And then we have for tune class, I raced Eagle. This is my tried and true bread and butter tune class car. And truth be told, it's getting a little long in the tooth. It's getting a little up there in years. So there are better designs out there. And you know what? Whoa, John V, he took his knowledge and he just made the ultimate mock frame. So stable. It may not be the fastest of all the cars in the finals, but it was the most stable. And that really means something, folks. Because if you think about it, if you're too fast, you course out, you're not going to be first place. You're not going to be second place. If you have a stable car, that wins out usually. That usually wins races. You want to stay on the track and you want to be as fast as possible on the track. That's the secret to winning races. So Eagle has that. John's mock frame has that. That's the way that you should really build your cars. Now, if you want to go for broke and you want to go race in a reckless way and have a not so stable car but is very fast, you can take that chance. And you probably will win a good number of races with cars like that. But if you have a strong, stable, solid car that's also very fast, chances are you're going to get into the finals in one of those spots and you're going to possibly win a race or two or three or four. And yeah, it's just a matter of time. When you enter enough races, you'll win some of them. That's just how it goes. So yeah, I decided to put larger wheels on this. I had the same wheel size as in Hobbytown's league races, and I did fairly well there. It was a 3-lane track. It's just that for some odd reason it decided to course out the last in the finals for this. So unfortunately I didn't make it with this one. So yeah, I think it was 3rd place in Hobbytown's league races. My son had a faster car. This is the faster version of Eagle. This is called Blue Jay. And why is it faster? It's based upon the carbon reinforced chassis version of the mock frame. Yeah. So looking at the black metallic mock frame, the one that goes for a gajillion dollars at some places, and the silver metallic mock frame, those are cool, no doubt, because of their cowl. That's the only difference they have versus the non-metallic cowled versions of the mock frame. The non-metallic versions of the mock frame go for $13.60, I believe, or 80 cents. The silver metallic and black metallic mock frames go for so much more money. And you know what? It's really not worth it unless you're a style person, right? You want that nice metallic finish. But really, what's it about when you're trying to enter these cars in competition? Yes, style is involved, but also don't sacrifice the fact that you can actually buy 2 mock frames for the price of 1 black metallic mock frame. It shouldn't be the case, right? But that's how it is. That's how they're priced. And performance-wise, the black metallic mock frame is no better than the regular mock frame. So why not just get 2 regular mock frames, paint one of them with a chrome black finish or something like that? That's a better use of your money, I think. But if you must have the box that it comes with, because it does look like a cool box, right? The black metallic mock frame box, then get it for that. But otherwise, it's just not worth it. And the silver metallic mock frame, how much is it going for these days? We're going to look it up on eBay. We're going to find out. eBay, okay. And we're going to look up silver metallic mock frame. And we're going to see how much it costs. It costs, there we go. People are selling the black metallic mock frame for over $100 for one. The silver metallic mock frame, also over $100. The Korean mock frame, $150. The black special mock frame, of which this is based off of, $300. So, I don't know about you, but $300 can buy a lot of kits. Do you really want to spend $300 on, say, this black special mock frame because it's got this carbon reinforced chassis? Let me tell you that I had one too, and the roller front's very fragile on the front. That carbon reinforced chassis is a bit of a misnomer because some say that it's a very sturdy frame, right? It's very solid and rigid. But what they also don't tell you is the front roller mount points are very weak. So it's very easy to crack those points. So your black metallic mock frame becomes almost worthless after a few races. So maybe 4, but it's pretty much useless after that. And then you end up replacing it with a regular mock frame chassis. Here we were able to transform this black special mock frame into this special Toon class monster, Blue Jay. And yeah, it's fast. It is very fast. Unfortunately, it can go a little too fast sometimes. It can course out with too much battery juice. And sadly, that's what happened. And unfortunately, my son didn't get into the finals either. Unfortunately. So yeah, no wins this month. That's okay, because my McBite teammates, they got the wins. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So I bought a whole bunch of torque-tuned motors. These are the new Japan Cup 2024 torque-tuned motors, and they look like this. Right here, this is the new 2024 Japan Cup torque-tuned motor. And here's one from yesteryear, well, not too long ago, like last year. That's what the old one looks like. So some people have been talking about in like recent years about how the bell is colored differently now than the previous torque-tuned motors. And so let's take a look at the bells of both of them. You look and compare for yourself so you can see if there's a difference in the color. So let me take a look here closely at them, and I will tell you if there is a difference. Because before, there was like a muted orange for the newer torque-tuned motors, and then there was a more orangey orange for the regular torque-tuned motors. So I'm going to say that these basically look very much the same. Maybe this is a smidge lighter than this one, which I bought last year. And so this is the more recent one versus ones from years prior. So Yeah, in fact, I purchased this from AAA Hobbies, and this one I purchased from a vendor in California. And yeah, I see that there is a very slight difference in the tone of the orange, but it's not so like it's not like a tremendous difference like it was previously, where the orange was very orange and the new color of orange was kind of a muted orange. So this is kind of more muted than in the past, I believe. So unfortunately, I don't have a torque-tuned motor on hand to show the difference, but no, I think I do. Just give me one moment here. Here is a torque-tuned motor from yesteryear, and I'm talking about like at least 3 years ago. And here is the torque-tuned motors that you see now. I'm going to take them out of the package so you can see for yourself the color difference. Because there is a color difference. There you go. So the one on the right has a different shade of orange. The one on the right, your left, has a different shade of orange than this one. So this is the newer one, this is the older one. Let's take a look at the 2024. Okay, here's the old motor and here's the new. So you see this is the newer one, the 2024. And this is the older one. There definitely is a slight color difference. So, what's the difference, you may ask, with the new motors versus the old ones? It's been said that the new motors, the 2024 motors, possibly the ones from last year as well, which could also be 2024 motors or 2024 version motors, they are easier to water tune or easier to break in than previous motors, previous torque tune motors. Now, I don't like water tuning anything beyond a box stock motor, but some people have had success water tuning all sorts of motors, getting rid of all that motor dust inside. And that being the case, if you're successful using water tuning in your torque tuned, atomic tuned, rev tuned motors, by all means, try it. For me, I tried water tuning torque tuned motors, atomic tuned motors, and they would almost immediately die after a couple of runs. So for me, it's not worth it to water tune these kinds of tune class motors. But your results might vary, so give it a try if you'd like. The only thing that'll be bad is your motor will burn out and you'll be out $2.50 to $3.20. So yeah, the new 2024 motors, they go for $2.50, which is an incredible price. So yeah, it's almost a steal. You just have to buy them all if you find them for $2.50. But the older motors for $3.20, if that's a harder pill to swallow for some of you, then yeah, I can understand, because if you burn out a lot of these $3.20 motors, that's like, like burn enough of them out, and then that's a lot of money eventually. So let's take a quick peek at whether there's a different high-end torque than, different RPM that is, than the previous set of torque tune motors. So the 2024 says that the RPM is 12,300 to 14,700. And it also says the same for the old one. So the old one and the new one has the same specs. So yeah, the current consumption, 1.7 to 2 amps, is the same. Now, that does not mean that in real life these are the numbers, because these are just the numbers that they kept on file for torque-tuned motors, and they decided to print them because this is like what you can expect to receive out of the package. However, once you tune your motors or break in your motors using whatever break-in method you prefer, water tuning, oil tuning, whatever, these RPM numbers will just like, you can just throw them out, because your RPMs will probably be a lot faster than what it says on here. If your RPMs end up being in this range or slower, then you might not have a special motor. However, One of my colleagues, Christopher, remember the father-son team of Christopher and Cyril? He has a torque-tuned motor that is so powerful. It is monster fast, and I raced my cars against his. I raced a couple of my fastest torque-tuned cars against his, and his car just totally blew them away. It was like night and day seeing this, because it was like, whoa, does he have a hyperdash motor in there or something? It seems like he has the golden motor, I'll call it. Now, the golden motor, this whole theory of the golden motor is one out of, say, 1,000 motors is going to be the golden motor. And the golden motor is something that is so much faster than your typical motor in that category. So you might end up with a motor by chance, like a Cracker Jack box, that is it just so happens to be 20% faster than all the other motors that are in its manufacturing pool. And it just so happens that, that's just how luck is. You just randomly get that motor that's the golden motor. Some golden motors are just a few percent higher, faster than your typical motor, but that might be enough to win a race. So if you buy enough motors, you're going to get the golden motor. So it might take you 10 motors to find something that's 1% higher, faster than your typical motor. It might take you 100 motors to get 2% speed difference. It might take you 1,000 motors to get that one golden motor that's 20% faster than everybody else. And you know what? It's all luck. So you might not have to buy 1,000 motors. You might just have to buy 12, and you'll get that golden motor. So you just have to be lucky. That's all it is. It's luck. It's totally luck. It's lottery. So yeah, and that's just the way the ball bounces because of manufacturing variances. And we talked about this in previous videos about manufacturing variances. Some motors are just built a little bit better and end up giving you a little bit higher RPM output than other motors. It's just the way it is. If you look at cars, full-size cars, it's the same way. So if you have 10 Toyota MR2s, not picking on Toyota MR2s in any way, I like Toyota MR2s. If you have 10 Toyota MR2s and you measure them on a dyno, they all might be a little different, each one, each of the engines. If they were all like brand new, for example, and you tested them on the dyno after breaking in the motor a little bit. And yes, full-size cars, you can break in motors too. In fact, you should break in motors on a full-size car. That's a topic for a different video by a more seasoned expert in that. But yeah, there's break-in methods for full-size cars too. And if you have 10 cars across the line, one of them will have a faster motor than the other 9. And if you look at 1,000 cars, one of the engines of one of those cars may be significantly faster than all the other cars in that pool of cars. It's just the way it goes. Manufacturing variances, that's all it is. So yeah, I happen to own the one golden Mini Cooper. And by that I mean my engine, even though the horsepower isn't as high in my Mini Cooper, John Cooper Works S, it's an S converted to John Cooper Works, it produced 400 Newton meters of torque, which is unheard of. That's basically Ford Mustang torque right there. And that was verified by a dyno expert. And so he had measured other Mini Coopers, and they generated more towards the 200 Newton meters of torque. But mine had that. Mine was the golden motor. It had a lot of torque and very little top-end speed, unfortunately. I don't know how I feel about that. I think I would have liked a more balanced motor in my Mini Cooper, but that's just the way the ball bounces, right? You have no control over what is in your car, really. You don't know what your car is going to be like until you break in the engine. So it takes a fair number of miles before you can finally determine what kind of engine your car has. And that applies to every mechanical engine device across all different cars. It's just the way it is. So over time, your motors don't just stay at a certain peak RPM. They will fluctuate over time. They might increase in RPM over time. They might drop. It depends on what is affecting the motor at that time. You might be oiling your motor a little too much and dust might be getting inside it. And so you might need to clean your motor every now and again. just like you cleaned it the first time, using, I'll just say X, whatever that thing is that you use to clean your motor with. Do it again and clean the motor out and make sure that all the internals are working as optimally as possible. So yes, very, very cool. So yes, I am very curious now as to what my RPM of this 2024 motor will be versus the one that I purchased recently at AAA Hobbies versus the one that's already broken in. So we'll see what numbers I come up with on my G-force. Pretty cool. It is very, very much to your advantage to just buy a whole bunch of these motors, these torque-tuned motors. A lot of people love torque-tuned motors. They're not my favorite tune class motor. I actually like atomic tune motors better. I like that balance of speed and torque. It's just awesome to me to get an atomic tune motor that's really balanced. That gives me about 31 to 33,000 RPM. Very, very cool. So yeah, I like that. Typically with a torque-tuned motor, I can get it up to 31,000 RPM with a 3-volt charge on a G-force. Now, these numbers, people are wondering about how I'm able to achieve these super high RPMs. So, one thing I mentioned before was, yeah, I use 3 volts in a G-force, and I do it through an AC adapter, and some people have criticized me saying, oh, well, those numbers are much higher than if you were to just use batteries, blah, blah, blah. Of course they are. Yeah, because it's a different current going through your G-force. So, the thing about my numbers, though, is that they are consistent. So, if it so happens that my numbers are 10, 20% higher, like, after a while, I figured out that my numbers are some X percentage higher than other people's numbers in general. And you know what? I can then calculate how much RPM they would get if they were to measure my motor using their method. So you just do simple math. It's not hard, guys. Just go back to your arithmetic and you'll be able to figure out what your RPM is on your device that you're going to measure these motors at. See, because I'm consistent, I know that 31,000 RPM on this is definitely slower in RPM than 33,000 with my atomic tune on that same measuring device. That's how you have to look at it. You don't go and start blaming the person measuring the device with the measuring device saying, oh, well, you're all wrong measuring things. No, you just figure out the math formula so that you can calculate what the numbers should be on your device. It's as simple as that. So just because I don't use the same measuring device you use does not mean that my numbers are any less valid. So there you go. So everybody, if you like this video, please slam the like button, subscribe to my channel. You'll see more videos just like this one. Until next time, everybody, see you. Bye.